Am I the jerk for dressing too nicely for a wedding when I was just existing as myself? Posted by u/thrower49594. Hello, long-time lurker, first-time poster here. I, 25F, went to a friend's wedding a few months ago. The friends are Matt, 25M, and Susan, 25F. We're all part of a much larger friend group that gets along pretty well. To preface, I had actually never attended a wedding before in my life, and I don't tend to dress up or wear makeup. Nothing against it, it's just expensive and time-consuming, and I work 16-hour days in a uniform. I was really excited when I got the invite, saved up, and went to a shop I knew carried my size. I'm fairly tall. The clerk was amazing and so helpful. He chose a selection of dresses that would be wedding appropriate and not similar to what the bridal party would be wearing. We had a lot of fun trying things on, and he hyped me up. One of the options I just fell in love with, it was a beautiful dark green silk bias cut dress, think Keira Knightley in Atonement, without the sash and with a less flowing skirt. We matched it with heels, and I'd never felt prettier. The dress was on sale too, so that was A+. The wedding day comes, and it's lovely. I'm so happy for my friends. Susan ignores me, which is weird, but she's busy preparing, and then the wedding is in full swing, and the reception is busy, so I don't think much of it. Everything goes off without a hitch, and they drive off to their honeymoon. I suppose it's relevant that I received several compliments on my outfit during the event. I didn't think it caused a scene, and it wasn't anything particularly effusive or over the top. I was complimenting others as well, so I didn't think I stood out. Everything concludes, and we all have a nice time. No one says anything until tonight. We all got together for a welcome back dinner for Matt and Susan. During the dinner, Susan kept making snipes at me about what I wore, just incredibly passive-aggressive. It was very clear she thought I overdressed. I didn't say anything at the time because I felt terrible. None of my friends corrected or stopped her either. But looking back on it, I feel, for lack of a better word, wronged? She didn't give me the benefit of the doubt, and I don't feel like my dress was over the top. I do think I likely looked very different from how I normally dress and present myself, so that might be part of it. I'm trying not to go over the word limit, but am very open to questions and elaborations if needed. So, Reddit, am I the jerk for dressing too nicely for a wedding? Update 2 days later. So, crap has hit the fan. Turns out, the dress didn't matter at all, pretty much. Just brought up some old crap, I guess. Bear with me because I'm trying to piece things together while dealing/venting. Some info I've gotten directly, some secondhand, and not all at the same time. Some came from texting friends, others reached out, and I talked with Susan on the phone. Alright, so, apparently, this is relevant. I come from a fairly abusive situation. Not the worst, but still not great. Add on some religious trauma, and since a young age, I've been pretty relationship averse. I don't date casually or hook up with folks, and a staunch atheist. Believe what you want to believe, that's fine, but it's not for me, yeah? How does this apply? Well, Matt, you might be getting a creeping suspicion about the root of the issue by now, is very Christian. Not a prick about it, but he's been very clear that's the type of life he wants to live, and he wants to be a pastor. So, a full decade ago, he asked me to a school dance. We didn't know each other very well yet. I told him no because my parents didn't let me go to those. He then asked if we could date, and I gently turned him down because 1, again, my parents wouldn't have allowed it, and 2, I knew I didn't want to live a religious life. I knew he was very religious. This was a decade ago. We didn't become friends or anything then. That came later because my best friend started dating one of the guys in the group, and our 2 friend circles merged. He dated other people in between, so a little awkward but rarely ever thought about it. We were 15. Time passes, he starts dating Susan. Susan and her friends join the group. Everything is fine. We get along okay, not the closest, but good. There's some drama, but I'm not usually in it, and honestly, I'm really busy with uni and work. Then just work. But apparently, Matt told Susan that he had asked me out, no clue if he told her when it was, and this did bother her. I was oblivious. And yes, some of you were right. She is insecure, she also has anxiety. Matt, apparently, would get annoyed at her anxiousness when she'd call him crying. In the moment, he'd be supportive, but afterward, he'd compare her to me, saying things like, yeah, you should be like Op, she doesn't stress about things like that. Why would you say that? Like, sorry, but I'm gonna be real with you here, getting followed by a creep on a train is very different when you're 6 feet tall and take martial arts versus when you're 5 feet 1 inch with anxiety. Not fun either way, scary all the time, but can you blame her for crying? Sorry, I'm a little pissed. So, I'm guessing she built up some sort of resentment toward me but never told me. Again, I was oblivious to all of this. COVID happens, he proposes. They wait a bit more for marriage. She invites people to the wedding and does not want me as part of the bridal party, which, again, we're not the closest, so I'm unfazed. Maybe a bit of sadness, but her bridal party is large and filled with girls closer to her, so I don't mind. My best friend is aware of some of the subtext going on here because of her boyfriend, the same guy mentioned earlier, so she doesn't get along well with Susan. They have a fight, unrelated, around this time, so Susan says she is not invited. My friend doesn't care, she's going to be abroad then anyway. She also kicked some girls from the bridal party because they were apparently talking crap about the relationship, but I know very little about this, all third hand. So, from what I can gather from my conversation with Susan, she thinks me asking about what the bridal party she were wearing was a dig, somehow. And that I chose green deliberately so I'd stand out from the bridal party, and her dress had red accents here and there, since it was the opposite color. Again, she didn't ask me this, just came to that conclusion on her own. She's also utterly convinced that I dressed so nicely because I wanted to tempt Matt and that I should have dressed more modestly. So I ask why this was all coming up now and why she hadn't talked to me about it. I could have assured her that there was never anything between Matt and me and never would be. This is where she tells me that during their honeymoon, he told her that he's having doubts, feels like I was the one that got away, and needs to pray over their relationship. They haven't separated or anything, but things have been tense and bad. So when they had that dinner and she saw me again, she was pissed. She didn't say this directly, but I think it's pretty easy to infer. Now, this didn't come up in the call, but chronologically, this happened shortly after I left the dinner. Some of our friends texted her and then reached out to me, some talked to her directly. To the first person she spoke to directly, she started SLT shaming me pretty hard, but apparently in a way where she thought they'd agree with her. When they didn't, she got pissed and has been really short with everyone since. At this point, I tried to assure Susan that really, nothing is there. I honestly have no clue what Matt's on about, and she just loses it. Starts screaming and swearing at me through the phone, crying and calling me really horrible things. I try to shut this down, but she cannot hear me, she's shouting too much. So I just hang up because, WTF am I supposed to do with that? I send her a text saying, hey, I'm sorry you're going through this, you don't deserve to be treated this way, but I don't deserve this treatment either. Whenever you are able to, I'd like to have a respectful face-to-face conversation. It shows as read, but no answer. I have not contacted Matt because, honestly, I'm a little freaked out and a lot pissed. I don't have a clue what to say and don't really want to be near him at the moment. I don't think this is over. I might update again when / if more happens because this was honestly really cathartic to write out. Relevant comments. Commenter. They should just annul the wedding and go their separate ways. Ops response. Unfortunately, they've missed the timeline by a small margin. So they'd have to separate for a year and then get divorced. I don't know if they would, given that they're quite religious, and while their denomination doesn't disallow divorce, it's understandably quite against it, especially if he wants to be a pastor. That said, I 100% agree. Commenter 2. Not the jerk, when she's ready, definitely have that face-to-face conversation and explain that you were 15 when he asked you out. You were never the one who got away because you never dated, and you were both teens. Also, please explain that you asked about the colors to ensure you wouldn't be matching the bridal party, which is a common question women ask about weddings. Reassure her that you were only friends at a later date, after the teenage years, due to the friend groups overlapping, not because you sought him out or he sought you out. If given the chance, explain everything you've shared here in your prior post. I definitely agree that you need to stay no contact with him, at least until they've figured everything out. You are definitely not the cause of their issues. It almost sounds to me, with the info given, like he was settling rather than finding that spark, especially given what he said to her on their honeymoon. Also, just you, who says that to their new spouse. If and when you have a face-to-face conversation with her, tell her that you've chosen to go no contact with him or, at the very least, low contact, but only if it's in a group setting and she's there. He sounds like he has some issues to work through, we all do at times, and that's okay. But what isn't okay is him comparing his new bride to other women. Again, this isn't your fault. You did nothing wrong. Please keep us updated. Ops response. Thanks for writing out this really thoughtful reply. Yeah, this is just a whole freaking mess. It's left me feeling really gross, sad, creeped out, and sad for Susan. I'm trying to figure out how long I should wait before reaching out to Susan again, let alone if I really, what the hell can I do about this? Explanations are good, but they don't fix the core issue at hand. Sorry, I hope this makes sense. This whole situation has just got me exhausted.